All right. Okay, that's kind of funky. All right, let's just minimize that. That's kind of freaking me out. All right, here we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this video is my mouse is sticking a little bit here. Here we go. Yeah, let me just go back into here. Let's just close this. What I want to do is create a test case in UFT. Kind of use how I put together a framework, a usable framework in UFT, and how I set up my automation test cases to use the automation libraries I have here. So I'll kind of show you that from scratch how I built it, and go from basically let's go from there. And I'll show you how to do recording using the SPI, and how I build out the test case with these reusable modules or libraries. If I go into, let's just go into here. So you can see here, what I want to do is I'll use the use case, create a new customer. I'll show you the web application I'm going to be using. Using the recording and the SPI features of UFT to help find the web elements on the page. Creating reusable test steps into user flows. So it'll be like, creating reusable test steps to user flows. That's just making the test case reusable, the steps. And of course, they're going to be using the libraries. Startup and configuration of the application. Of course, making it reusable. Reducing the maintenance, the user flows. You want to add in the user flows that can be reused. Any globals, declarations, or constants that can be used can all be set up within that framework and reused for all the test cases that you use. If I go into here, so this is kind of an overview of the architecture and framework, kind of how the pieces work together. If you have QC, you can see I have some elements here of QC. The framework can be integrated into QC as well too. So as you take a manual test and convert it into automation, you can put it in the test lab and run it and execute it from QC, and all the results will be, of course, saved back to QC. And there's ways to do that, and I can probably show that within the framework using the commands to connect to QC and so forth. The architecture, of course, the test case layer, the actual commands, click setx, file open, and so forth. And the library, I have obviously some names for them, like configuration and business flows and global declaration and so forth. I just put kind of what can be contained in those libraries. Because you can name your library anything you want, but it's good to follow some standard and use best practices. So if you work within a team environment, everybody's kind of on the same page of what you're doing and what everybody's working with. The automation, the type of testing, the framework can handle module-driven, data-driven, and keyword-driven. That's no problem. You can build that into the framework. And so yeah, let's just go back into UFT here. So let me just I think what I can do is probably just maybe close this and just start from scratch, and then just build up from there. So let's just do file. Let's do a new test. We'll put it in kind of a demo folder. Oops. Mouse is sticky for some reason. So there. Select the folder. Okay, and then let's just create that. Okay. Let's go to the action page here. Okay, so let's so the web application I'm going to be using is it's just an online e-commerce website here. You can see it has a public email and password if I log in. So you can go in and it has a dashboard, and then a catalog. You can add products through the administration page here, which is what I'm on. You can add customers as well too. I'm going to be focusing on the customers piece here right now. Adding a new customer, editing, maybe deleting, and then maybe downloading some products here. Downloading the catalog as a PDF. But let's just focus on the customers piece here. So that's what I'm going to be working on right now. So let's log out. Okay, let's go back into UFT. And so when I start off a new test case, you can do a recording or use the object SPI. Sometimes I do a recording just to kind of see how UFT is recognizing the elements, or if there's any surprises on the web page. But you can kind of find that out just by, you can use inspect as well too if you want. That looks under the hood as well. You can kind of hover over the different pieces and see what's being highlighted and kind of get the gist of the properties of that web element you're looking at. But I won't be using that much here. I'll use UFT's SPI tool. It kind of helps categorize everything, and it makes it a little bit cleaner and easier to use. So I'll just use that. So let's just take a look here. Let's open the SPI tool here. Let's take a look. One thing I'm going to be avoiding using is the resources of the object repository. Let's just open it up. Right now there's nothing in it, and I'm going to be avoid using it. I'm going to be the approach I'm going to be taking is more of a descriptive programming approach, and real-time runtime object recognition and creation approach. So you can manage your test cases and make them really reusable and a lot easier to use. The object repository can grow big, and it just becomes another overhead piece to manage. I'd rather manage the properties and the actions that you're using within the test case itself, and then creating global declaration files or global parameters, constants that can be reused through different test cases, which I'll show you how I'll do that. But for now, let's just start off with just looking at how I can just do a login, a simple login. Okay, let's just do a quick recording. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And okay, and let's just click here. There we go. Okay, now we get some actions recorded. Okay, so let me just type in the common username and password. And again, you can see it's right there on the web page, so you can't really hide it. Okay, and then I'll click login. Okay, so we got that done. And let's just click stop, and let's just take a look, see what steps it recorded. Well, there you go. So hence why using the recording tool is not the best approach, because all it did was record web elements, and I didn't want that, and I don't even know where this is pointing to, which is weird. Password remember, click, and then web button login. That's just, yeah, that's that's not really what I want. So there's a good example of why using the recording tool is not the best approach. You want to create a more dynamic, reusable test case, and create a reusable libraries and framework to run those test cases. Let's just open up the object repository, and let's just take a look and see what it picked up here. So the login button, which is good, and then we got these web elements, defaults for a min area, which is interesting. Let me just log out. Here's the defaults for a min area here, and that's what I clicked on at the beginning to get going, but it didn't even get my email or password that I typed in. Anyways, so that's fine. What I'm going to be doing now is using the object spy, and like I said, I use the recording tool sometimes just to see how UFT is recognizing certain objects and what it picks up to help you get the user flow, capture the user flow, and then maybe that might help you out when you're building your test case and bringing in your commands from your libraries to execute on the web application. But in this case, I'm not going to be using it. So let's just open up the spy tool again. Oops, not the recording tool. Okay, let's just bring that over here, and let's just get rid of this. And what I want to do is, okay, so I have my library built already, so my that I want to use. So let's just bring some of those libraries in. So associate function library. So what I want to do is, so what I did was I created a common library folder. So in here is where there's going to be common libraries that I'm going to be using that can be used for all the test cases projects that you use. So in this case, and then if you're going to be using specific libraries for a specific project, like for instance this e-commerce web application here, I'll be creating a separate folder, and then I can put specific libraries into that folder and associate it with the test case that I'm using. So that helps build out the framework as well, and create some separation between the global library files that are being used and then the specific library files that are being used. It helps with maintenance as well too, and usability. So in here, so I already know what library files I want, so I'll just bring those in. This could be the config, core actions, global declarations, logging, error handling, and support utility, and Win API. So I'll bring these in. I'll touch on a little bit of these library files as we go on and build the test case. Okay, so I brought those in the so the config library. This is where it has my startup. So when the test case starts, it starts the application, it builds your folders, and sets up the environment that you're going to be testing in. So when the test case is executing, the logging is saved to all these to the folders that are set up. And I'll touch a little bit on that when we execute the test case. Okay, so what I want in the core actions, so that has the main. This is the main driver, and this is what I want, the app control core func. And let's just grab this, bring it into the test case here, like so. And you can see here it has some parameters, and so this is what I'm going to be using to help drive the actions onto the web application. But it needs to know what web object or web element you're dealing with, and so that's what these parameters help. And this is pretty common for all automation. You need to let the automation know what you're doing, what property you're working with. So you just need to help it and give it some ways to identify that web element on the page. In this case, I'll start off with I want to enter my email and the password, and then I want to click on the login button. So 3 steps. So the control action in this case is going to be, I'm setting some text. The class is going to be, I know this offhand because I already looked at it. So if I go and I use the object spy, you can take a look. Oops. Let me just stop this. Okay, so sorry about that. I just had to restart the application to get the spy tool working. It just wasn't connecting properly to the to Chrome. Okay, let's just start this back up again. Okay, so I was at I wanted to spy on these web elements here, and they're web edits just to get the properties of them. And as you can see here, now you can easily identify them and what they are. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so it's a web edit. Okay, so as I mentioned before, my action is I'm going to be setting text into the web edit. The control name is email. Control name 2, I don't need it. That's just to help out if you have to help identify the web element you're working with. You might need that in an extra identifier property. But in this case, we'll just work with email. That's the name of it. We'll scroll down a little bit here. So you can see its type. Oops, sorry. There we go. You can see the name is email, and there's HTML ID is email. So there's lots of good identifiers on here to uniquely identify it. Even if I go into the well, no, that should be good enough. We'll just leave it at that. If we run into problems, I can dig under the hood a little bit more. But it has a good name and HTML ID, so those are good identifiers. So the engine, the automation engine will be able to pick that up, and I kind of show you where it's picked up during runtime. Okay, so the page name is, you can see right here. So the page name is your store.login. So let's just go to here. Your store, and there's a period there, and then a space, and then login. Okay, so that's the page we're working on. Data. The data we're putting in there is going to be admin at yourstore.conf. Okay, and expected form, no expected form yet. So what we're going to do is just do like an NA. So that's expected form you can use on an event by clicking a button when you go into another page. You can put in an expected form just to verify that new page opened up, and I'll show you how that can be used as well. Okay, so we got that. So now we got that one test step done. All you have to do is do a copy, paste, and now we're going to do it for the password. So let's just do a spy just to make sure we get the name right for the password. And there it is there, and HTML is capital P, and name is capital P. Okay, so let's just put that in there, and we're still working on the same page. And then the password is going to be min, and we'll leave the expected window blank. Okay, so in here now we want to click on the login button. So let's just do a spy on that. There it is there. So same idea. So now you're working with a class name is web button. So you want to change this now to the web button, and the action is going to be clicking on it. And then we're going to be on the yourstore.login, and the name of the button is login. You can tell that up here. The name, the property value there, and there's no data associated with it, so we can leave that blank. And so now we are going to be going to a new page. So this is where we can put in the expected window, just to verify that new window opened up. So I can just test that. What I can do is I'll click on login, and there we go. We're going into the dashboard, uh, NOP Commerce Administration. So what I can do is I can, just to get that quickly, I can go to view page source and then go to the top here. It should be right there. There, the title. Grab that. Go back into here, and let's just drop that into there. Okay. And let's just close this. Okay, so there's our first 3 steps to do a login. Okay, so let's just log out. Okay, so in the automation engine in here, so it's going to take these parameters and then it's going to help identify that web element that you're looking for, specifically the email, the password, or the login. Here's the class name. So during runtime, we're going to create a new object during runtime and it'll basically find all the web edits on the page, or a web button, depending what you're working on, and then it's going to put that into the object, page object, and then the architecture is going to loop through to find it, to find this correct web element you're looking for. I think we should be good to run. Let's just close this. So let's just see if we can run these 3 steps here. So what's going to happen is when the UFT goes to run this test case, it's going to go into this configure, and you see this is the very first, well, not necessarily the first, well, I guess it is the first function that's encountered and executed. And this is where I have a lot of my other parameters configuration set up for the automation. You can see I'm killing any applications that are open. I'm cleaning up the environment, make sure the environment's cleaned up, creating my folders, deleting any texts in my temporary folders, not necessarily temporary folders, but my download folder if I'm downloading any documents. So I just want to make sure that it's cleaned up. Creating any folders in here, and I'm basing it on the like the test name, and of course the current date, current time. Lots going on in there, and then I'm writing out some information to the log file. So this is my function to method to start writing results to the log file that's been created. And this is, I mentioned about the integrating with QCLM. So these are the commands to integrate with the QCLM. So if I was using QCLM, I could save all the information to QC as well at the same time, which is nice. But I don't have QC set up on this environment, so that's why I got to comment it out. Of course, I got the Start browser in here, my Chrome, Edge. They even got a Internet Explorer on here, and Firefox, which I don't think I have set up correctly at the moment, but I'm going to be working with Chrome. And what I do now is I have my global declarations, and so my global declarations, so this is where I kind of declare all my global parameters that I'm using, the log files, log folders, setting up the environment again as well, the QC connections right here, begin to connect it if I had it set up in here. So there's a lot in here, but this is just setting up the environment as well. One thing I want to do though is eventually what I'll show you is I can parameterize these, put them in a declaration file, and make this common, and these won't be hard-coded, and they can be reused in other test cases. And if the page changes, like a text on the page changes, then it's going to be in another declaration library folder and file, and it can be reused. And so you're changing it. The idea is that have one spot change, and then if you have 20, 30, 100, 1,000 test cases, you can change it in one spot, and then those test cases are automatically updated. That's your reusability, and it reduces maintenance on your test cases. But right now, I got everything hard-coded, but you can easily turn these into global declarations, and make them reusable for all test cases. And I'll show that once I get going here. Okay, but right now let's just try running this, and let's see where we get just running these steps. I'll put a breakpoint here. Okay, let's run this. Okay, shut it down. Let's just make sure we know what it's trying to do. Let me just put a pause here. And let me just double check here. I don't think. Oh, yeah, it's empty. Okay, that's my bad. Okay, so let's stop this. And let's just close this. And let's go back into the action here. So, what I did there, I didn't add my declaration file for e-commerce that I'm building up as a web application with the test cases. So, what I want to do is, I believe I have one built already, but let's just go into here, e-commerce, and let's go into this lib here. Yeah, so let's what I want to do is I'll copy this, and what I'll do is I'll just put it in my demo folder. Sorry, let me just see where I put this e-commerce demo scripts. Okay, sorry. Okay, so let's go. There we go. Okay, there's my lib. So let me just paste these into here. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to associate those library files as soon as the. There we go. Okay, so let me just back up here now. Scripts, e-commerce, demo scripts that I'm working on. There's my library file. Okay, so there's a bunch of others in here. I don't want to use those. What I want is the ecom declaration library and the business flows. I'll just stick with those two right now. So the business flows are kind of the user flows, the reusable functions that I'm going to be building, reusable methods that I'm going to be building out. So let's just bring those in. Here we go. Okay, we're going to here. So now you can see here in this reusable library here. So what I have is the path name that I'm dealing with now. There's the global web link that I want to use, and then I have my start page that I want to use. So I mentioned earlier how we can create the titles and make them a constant, and that helps reduce the maintenance. So if these titles change, you can change them in one spot. And so that's what I do here, called your store login. So you can see that it's right there. And if we go back into my action here, it's right there. So I already have that created. So let's just go into that declaration file there, and let's just copy that. And let's just drop that in there now. Okay, there's that one. And let's just do that for these three. Like so. And then we got the username and password. So I have that set up in here as well too. So let's just grab this and let's just drop this in here. With the password. So let's save this. And then that's fine. Let's just hide that. And then, so the expected title is, I believe I have that as well too, so that's right here. Let's drop that in there. Okay, so that was pretty straightforward, pretty easy. It's pretty easy to create libraries in UFT and associate them in the test case, as you can see what I just did there. So just a recap. So I have my global declarations, which is specific to the whole automation environment. So if you have 2 or 3 different applications you're working on, this global declarations will work with all those different applications you're doing. A common for all those web applications you're automating against. If you're doing a specific web application, then you can do a specific library file for that web application you're working on. In this case, the e-commerce web application, and then you build out your declarations, your global declarations for that application. That's specific to that application in that folder. So if we go to properties, and you can see, as I did earlier, I associated it with that project I'm working on, which is the demo scripts folder in this case. Okay, so there, and that's true for these other libraries. So this one is common for all the web applications you're working on, all the projects. So config, core actions, global, logging and error handling, the support utility, and one API. These two are specific to the web application that you're currently working on, and only will work with that web application. Okay, so, and then yeah, this will just keep on building as you're building automation. This will get bigger and bigger, of course. You can create all kinds of titles and web pages in here, titles of web pages in here, and then you can even use create the common global declarations for the web elements you're working with, and that just helps. If anything changes on the web page, you can change it within your declaration file in here, library file. Okay, so let's get back to this. Okay, so now with all that, this should work now. And let's just run this again. Oh, sorry. Let's just put that a break right there. Okay, let's see how far we get. Okay, that's good. So started the Chrome browser, and it took us to the login page for the e-commerce site. Okay, so now we want to put in our username. First web edit, so let's just step over it. You couldn't see it because it's already in there, but it did set it. Let me just clear this out so it could be seen being set into the web edit. So there, you can see it, put it in there. That's pretty quick. And then let's do click on the web button, login. Oh, we had an error. So what was it? Web button cannot be clicked. It was not found on the web page. Okay, so that's good. Let's find out. Well, it's not good, but it's not bad either. Let's find out what why it missed it. Okay, so open up Object Spy. All right, there we go. I'm gonna restart it a couple of times. Okay, let's just check out that login button now. Let's make sure I had it set up correct. Oh, yes, there's a problem. I had an uppercase I. It should have been lowercase. Okay, let's try that again. All right. Okay, let's just go here. So it'll type in the email and password. Okay, let's click on login now. Let's see what happens. There we go. Now it did it. There we go. And there's our logging. Going through, showing us what we did. There we go. Okay, so that was our kind of first test case. Doing a login. And then let's just go into here. And I'm going to go into G. Let's go into logging. So that was number 3. There it is here. Here. And you can see there's my date and timestamp. So I just ran this one here. And there's my logging file. So everything passed. So there's no error folders or screenshots taken yet because there's no issues. But you can see there's my logging. It captured the steps that were just executed on the web application, which is great. The expected web page has opened, and there's our expected web page there, which is nice. So that was good. That was my first easy 3 steps to create. So what I can do now is to create some reusability out of this is in the business flows here. You can call this to be more, because I click and call it user flow or application flow, what have you. Right now, I just have it as business flow, and I have business stuff wrong. Anyways, just double click it, and I might even, I even have some stuff in here already. So there's my steps that I already did for the interest of saving time. So these 3 steps here are right here. You can see I already copied them in there. Let's just go and I'll copy these because I'm using the global declarations or the application declarations. Here I don't have the setup, so let's just paste these ones in here. Save it. Okay, so there's our first reusable function or method. Let's go here, and let's go back into the action. Let's drop that in there. Let's just kick this off, and this should work just fine the way it is. Save run. There's our click. Nice. So we'll go back into the login here. Let's back up. Now we should have a new timestamp, which we do. And there's our new logging file right there. All right, everything seems to be working just fine. So what we can also do is now what we want to do is we want to add a new customer. So I want to interact with these menu items over here and open up the customer's page here, and then click on Add New right here, and then add a new customer. Okay, so let's just go here. So I'll continue building off of this one test case here. And so the same idea, I'm going to use the reusable methods I have here. So you can see that there's already a common approach that I'm using. Always using the same type of method here, function. And all I'm doing is just putting in the web element and what I want to do with that web element. Again, I'm telling the automation tool how to interact with that web element on the page. So I want to click on this customer share to drop it down. So that's another click. So let's just do click. And now let's find out what it is. I'm not too sure what it is. It could be a web element or it could be a link. So let's just go here. Let's just, oops. Oh, right. I gotta stop and start it again. Okay. So let's just interact with this web element here. Okay, so it looks like it's a link we can use. Yeah, there's a link. There we go. Okay, so, okay, let's continue on here. So like I mentioned here, we found out this customers is a link. The class name is a link. The name is customers. But now we're working on a different page. Let me just close this down. We're working on the dashboard page, which I do have already. It was the expected page on one of my commands here. So let's just grab this. And drop it in here. Okay, and we don't need data, so leave that blank, and the expected window is NA. Okay. Okay, so there's that part. And now so once we click on this, it's going to drop down. And what I'm going to do is, let's see here. No, yeah, okay, so let's just copy this. And let's get the SPI out. And what do we have here now? So we've got another link, customers. Okay, that's going to be a problem. Okay, now we got two customers on this page. Sorry, two customer web elements, both links. So yeah, there's going to be a conflict there. UFT is going to have trouble identifying which one to click on. So we have to use something different. And what we could use the outer HTML, but it's way too long, way too big. And when I'm talking about using this, right, and then taking this and dropping it into here, that's just too long. These are all customers, so that's going to create a conflict. So what we could do is use the XPath. We could try that. Let's just copy this. So in my engine, I have it able to identify if the XPath is found on the web page as well too. So in the real-time runtime object identification, it goes through 7 or 8 common properties of the web element, and what it does is it'll loop through to find a match. And so the more information you give it, the more unique the match is, and it'll find it and click on it. So in this case, this will be good. XPath, like I mentioned, the engine, the automation engine object identifier, will have issues because there's more than one on here. I could use the index as well, but I'll use the XPath. It makes it a little bit more readable what we're using here. But we'll try that. Okay, and then we'll stop there. Okay, and so what we should get is click here and then go to the customer's webpage. Okay, so let's just do a breakpoint. When I say a breakpoint, let's just let it run. Let's see what it does. Okay. There we go. Okay, so it should click on customers, but let's see. Nope, I didn't like it. Let's take a look here. Customer could not be clicked and not found on the web page. Okay. Oh, I think I already see my mistake. Yes, my bad. Customers. I have a little detail counts. Okay, let's just try this again. All right, beautiful. There we go. So that worked. I was able to, using the XPath, I was able to uniquely identify that second menu item on here and open up the web page. Just for curiosity's sake, let's take a look and see what happens when we do use both customers on here. But I think we all can guess what's going to happen, but let's just take a look and see what UFT does with it. Yeah, it just clicked on it again, and then it just opened the menu item and then closed the menu item. It just went click and then click, which was kind of expected. Then of course it passed because it did click on the link again. Okay, so let's just put the XPath back in there. Perfect. Okay, so now what I want to do now, once we're in here, is fill in some information here to add a new customer. And that's going to be a long process. So what I did was I do have the steps here already built. So what I want is from here, I'll just grab all these here. Okay, and drop them in there. Okay, so these are the steps to add a new customer. So just the same thing. The nice thing about it, this is all common and reusable methods here I can use to interact with the web page. There's my web edit. There's my radio group. Oh, sorry. When I click on Add New, sorry, I'm going to go back into Add New. There we go. So the wrong page there. So there's my first name, last name. And then, of course, the date of birth. Type in the text, and there's saving it. I do have another function method here to interact with a web element. And so what's going to happen here, it's going to check that this customer, new customer success message is visible on the page. So what happens is I can just fudge this here, email.com. I think I can get away with just doing that. Hit save. And you see there. So it goes to a new page, and then it has this message here. So that's what this is doing here. And that's a web element, and I have a specific function to look for that web element. I'm using the inner text, and I'm using the first index to help identify it and make it unique. And then I'm looking for that new customer success message in there. And when you see this CNST constant, you know that it's in the ecom declarations file. Okay, and then of course I log out. And I take a screenshot. So I have a method in here to take a screenshot. So for verification purposes, once you add in a new customer, save it, you can take a screenshot as well too. Okay, and then let's just back up here. I don't have my button in here, so let's right here. So let's drop that in there. So it's clicking on the Add New button. And I am missing my email and password I want to set up. here as well. Okay, so this will create a new customer for us. You can see that I am using some random values in here. So you can see up here, let me just grab this, bring these in. So these are some supporting methods that I have set up here. And what I'm doing is I'm doing some random random characters here. This is my prefix, just showing that it's a test name, test email. This is the first name, last name. These are the number of characters I want to use. So 3, 3, and then up here for the email I'm using 8. So that gives it some variability, and then I'm putting that into a parameter. And then because this is going to be reused with other test cases, like the CRUD, the create, read, update, delete, I want to save them to a common file. I'm just saving this to just a notepad. I give it the extension TST, and then I can use the read method when I want to edit the customer to grab that customer name and then search on it, which I can show you here in a sec how that looks. But yeah, so this gives you the flexibility to save some create a text file and save names that can be used in other test cases. So that test char is being used here. See there with the email.com. So if I go here and then right mouse click on it and go to definition. So here's the create a text file here. So just creating an object using the file system object. This is pretty standard. And then I'm opening a text file of what I pass to the method here, to the function, in this case for UFT method for you Selenium, Java, Python object oriented developers. And then it just saves the data here and then closes it and sets the objects back to nothing. Okay, and then let's go back into the here definition. So that's in my logging and error handling library here. So I close that, collapse that. You can see I got to delete the text file, so I have my function to find and delete a file as well. So these are other supporting functions that I use. There's my read a text file here. So this is, if I would it's just a simple read. Open the file, read the text, save it, and return it. We save it to a parameter and use it in the next test case. Okay, so this now should create a new customer for us. So let's just run this. All right. Oh, looks like I missed the password there. Let's see what I did. I might have missed something there, obviously. But you can see it's filling in all the fields that I want to set. Saved it. Customer has been added successfully. There we go. So you can see this is a demo site because the web application itself didn't do any checks to see to make sure they ensure that password was set. But what did I miss there? Oh yes, my random name. I didn't create a random name for it. Let's just go into here. And yeah, oh, I must have missed copying it. Okay, that's no problem. I can just, what I can do is, let's just do this. I just call it password. Nothing fancy. Okay, but it did save it. So if I go into the logging, let's go to my timestamp. So that was, yeah, what, 8:48 here. Take a look. And there's my screenshot, by the way. So I did take the screenshot of the save. So remember, I did take a screenshot, and I did it. And saved the screenshot back to the folder that we're logging to. And then there's my steps again in here, which is great. Now this web element, let's just go into the definition of this. Let's take a look at this function here. So you can see, so this is what I'm talking about with the descriptive programming. And this is where I get away from using the object repository. So I don't want to, I just don't want to use it. You can see it's empty. So I can pass in the parameters that I need to set up the descriptive programming approach in here. And so I'm filling in the objects that are needed to identify the the parameter, the web element in this case, on the page. So of course the control action, in this case I was doing an exist. So we're back into here. So exist, I'm going to the inner text. Let's just go into here. Let's go back into customers, add new. And let's just this.com, and then let's just save this there, and let's just do a quick spy on that so you can see what I'm talking. There we go. Okay, and there you go. There's the web element. I just spied on. Let's make this big, and so I'm using the inner text. There it is there, and I'm using the index one because it's the only one on there, but just to help identify it. I wanted to pass in the index value to it as well, just to help identify, make it unique. And so with that descriptive programming approach, that's what I do here. You can see there's my index property, and then I put in the index value there. So I just check to see that it exists. If it's true. Or if it's not equal to true, then I fail the test case. But if not, I just drop down into here, and I just do another validation and pass it. And again, if it's not there, just fail it. That's kind of redundant. I have to fix that up. And if I'm clicking on a web element, then of course I have a click event here as well too that I can use. But I was just doing exists right now. Okay, and then in here, so let's go into the guts of this method here, this function, and I just want to scroll down to, so what I'm doing in here is, so this is my real-time runtime object identifier. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm creating the object here, the object description based on the control class. So that's where that control class parameter comes into play. So if I'm looking for a link or web edit, it's going to take that web edit, and it's going to create a description for that web edit for all the web edits that are on the page here. And once I have that, what I can do now is I do some filtering here, some checking, but I'm using the basic web page here. I'm going to get all the child object descriptions of that web edit for that page. So it's going to find all the web edits on that page. So I can get the count. So now I can do my count of the collection of the objects there. I do some formatting here again. Yeah, this isn't a partial match. I use a $sign if it's going to be a partial match, but I'm not using a partial match. So these are the property values I'm looking for. So I set it up in a for loop, and all I'm doing is I'm looping through until I find that web edit and that web element. Well, that web element on the page, which is going to be the web edit. So it's gonna traverse these 7 different property values to do the match. And there's my XPath, HPLD, name, text, some of the more common property values right there. And that's real time. That's done real time runtime. And then once I find it, which is I do my checks here, looking for it. Just checking this to see if the web element name matches one of the property values that it finds here. And once it finds it, then the control action comes into play. And so this is where I drop down into the control actions here. I have a variety of them. So this is where your control actions can be in form of a keyword. And so now you can tell the automation tool what to do with that web element once you find it. What type of action is going to be done on it? And you can have a lot of wrappers around it, verifying it that it's there. Checking to see if it's disabled or not. So in this case here, for that web edit, I want to set some text. Checking to see if it's disabled. If it's disabled, then fail the test. If not, then I can get that object and the count of it, where it is, and then set the data. Set the data in it. Just do some syncing sometimes. There's the web edit might have to do some syncing of some sort, but I just do a sync with the web page, and then I pass it. So that's the gist of the core engine here and how it's used. And it's all done at runtime, real time. So if anything changes, you can always update it quickly. Like I mentioned, you can have these names here, the web elements names, into your declarations file. And if you know, a lot of the web elements aren't going to change that often, so you might not need to create a declaration, a global parameter for it. But if you know it's going to change, maybe in pre-development or something like that, you can set up a declarations parameter here, constants parameter. And then if it changes, you can easily change it here. And then, of course, it's going to change for all your test cases that you have. But yeah, that's sort of the gist of it. So we created a new test case fairly quickly and easily. Created a common approach for it using the libraries. And and so what I can do is I'll do another one for updating it and show how it can interact with the table, and then click it on a button within that table. Kind of a cool approach to that as well too. All right, so what I didn't show on here was what a failure looks like, and kind of how that process looks when the test case fails. So I could do that. Let's just fudge. Let's just fudge this web element here. We already had it fail once when I was looking for this customer's link here on the dashboard. So let's fudge that. I'll call it customer, and let's just run it, and we'll let it fail. Okay, so it's gonna search for the customer's link, but it's not there. There we go. So it failed, and so in this opening results, we can quickly see that the customer link was not found. So it was looking for the customer's link, but we know it's customers. But if we go into the let's go into the logging folder. So we go into here, and let's just open this up, and let's go into G, and go into here, and then we just ran it. The timestamp, there it is there. Okay, bring it down. So you can see there's a few extra files in here that were created when a failure happens. So we got the fail CSV file, and that just logs the error, just to kind of separate it out of the logging, so it's not that hard to find. But yeah, customer link could not be clicked. So that's the failure. Here's the screenshot it takes, and it just shows a screenshot of the page that failure happened on. And then this is the full text, the full log file in here as well. Let me just make that big. And you can see here, yeah, it can't upload to QC because it's not connected, as I mentioned before. I don't have it set up in this environment. But that's basically what a failure looks like. So it does capture it, does take a screenshot, and then if QC was connected, it would upload the results to QC as well. Okay, we can stop there. Okay, in the next video, I'll go over that updating a user, as I mentioned before, and going over the table, how to interact with the table. Okay, thanks for watching.